Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food. And I've had a guilty pleasure weekend. Oh, somebody put on either my Facebook or the YouTube that every time they listen to me at 10 o'clock at night and I'm slurping my coffee, they want coffee. And the picture of them is a cat. And so I asked if the cat came running too, because somebody else said once that they had, their cat knew that they were sitting to watch the video for a few minutes. And so the cat knew it was an opportunity for lap time. I thought that was so adorable. I love cats. Anyway, we are not cookie cutters. And so sometimes a certain food plan might not work for us because our little cookie cutter metabolism is not a cookie cutter metabolism. And so we just can't fit into that little slot. And what other people have and lose weight with might not work for us. And then we add female on top of it for the most part. Excuse me, gentlemen. And so there we are with our set of, well, I guess what we'd call circumstances. And it's not like you. I'm not like you. She's not like me. It makes it sometimes difficult. And the program that you're on sometimes is absolutely excellent for as long as it's absolutely excellent. And then something happens and suddenly cravings come back or triggers come back or binging comes back or relapses come back. And, lifetime memberships are lost because it's hard to maintain with what worked before. Isn't that it? And it's really, really a struggle, isn't it? And so what do we do about that? You know, I've watched people since I've been doing these videos, which is, I'm in my 13th month, and the pregnancy that never ends. And so, I've seen people do this plan and that plan and this plan and that plan. And I don't know if it's about giving it time because I'm not you. But it's so difficult finding the recipe that's going to make us lose weight. Now, I listen to all kinds of podcasts because I want to know, not unlike politics, I like to know both sides of the story, both sides of the issue. And so it's always fascinating to me to listen to a podcast. I'm grain-free. I went wheat-free on my birthday, the end of August, wheat-free and sugar-free. And then about a month later, reading Dr. William Davis's Total Health after reading Wheat Belly, I decided to do the entire grain-free jump. Why? Because it is easier. Because it is black and white. I don't eat grains. It's a lot easier than, well, I can have certain gluten-free items, but it has to not have tapioca in it. And then if it has cornstarch, I have to see if it's organic. And no. It was just easier for me to be grain-free. The only thing I was missing, truly missing, was pizza. And so along came an almond meal pizza that I made. And that was labor intensive, and I love cooking. I do. I spend hours and hours. It's like therapy for me. But certain recipes have so many ingredients and so many steps, it becomes totally, simple is better. Like a creme brulee. How simple is that? I thought it was going to be the most difficult thing to make, and so now I can make it for Greg, bing bada bing, and it's like easy. Yeah, there's a lot of things to wash, but that's okay. Anyway, so I missed I knew that I would miss pizza. And so then I found the Fathead pizza, and that worked. and it continues to work. And I continue to tweak what I put on top, and that works. And, you know, I mean, it's just like how a regular person would have a pizza. One night they have pepper and onions, and the next night they want cheese, and the next night they want, you know, meatballs on it. So I've, you know, I work with what I feel like that day, and I track it all. And I'm telling you, I'm sitting over here configuring, you know, what one slice is, and stuff like that. So anyway, this is not one size fits all. This is not cookie cutter. And that's why I like my channel and my Facebook page, because each one of us is trying to find our own personal winning food plan, that we win at losing, we win at maintaining, we win at getting healthy. You know, it's more than just how do I lose weight for the summer on this website, because we care about the chemicals, we care about where stuff comes from, we care about sometimes the history of something, and we want to know what works for each other. And it's always fascinating. You know, I'm continuously asked, what goes in your Bulletproof coffee? Well, this Bulletproof coffee right there is not the same version that I started out with, because I evolve. So it's just always this moving target, and of what works and what doesn't. Yesterday, oh, it was fascinating. I mean, I got to talk with two people, well, one was voice to voice on the phone, and the other one was face to face in my car talking to me. It was great, about food plans. And it's so rare when I get to really talk, you know, there's a dialogue, not just me talking. And it was wonderful. And, it was just so cool to get one idea batted back to the other idea, and just, it was wonderful. And it doesn't happen often here, because until somebody, like, you know, if you're a member of my tribe, I don't have to convince you. You're here for a reason. You might be struggling with your food plan, but you're here for a reason, because there's something about, not me, not the big me or anything, just, you know, the purpose, the intent of the content to get you to a place where you understand, oh, she keeps saying organic berries because, or she keeps saying this grain thing because, or she keeps talking about these American culture diseases like diabetes, obesity, and heart disease. Oh, I'm getting it, because I went to the doctor, and the doctor said to me, you are pre-diabetic. And pre-diabetic is a very serious condition. It's not like, oh, okay, woo, boy, I escaped that. No. Pre-diabetic actually should have a different name. It's like perimenopause. They finally named it for menopause, right? It's like, well, this thing that's happening before menopause is really tough. And so finally they dignified it. But pre-diabetic doesn't mean you've escaped the bullet. It means you've got some serious work ahead of you still, right? And if you've gotten to that place of pre-diabetic, your food plan probably needs a whole overload, overdoing. I'm spacing on the word. So anyway, being that you're a different cookie cutter than the next person, that you sit with maybe at Weight Watchers, maybe on the low carb, high fat place, maybe on the ketogenic website, maybe all these different things. And it's like, you know, I think that Abel James, the fat burning man, the wild diet man, the man that had the TV show My Diet's Better Than Yours, he's such a well researched lad. And I say that because he's not even 30. He could be my son. My kids are older than him. But what he does, the food plan that he's on, he's always recognized for being into paleo. And even though a lot of his practice is paleo, it's paleo with dairy, because he can have dairy. He also can have things like honey and molasses and things like that. And I suppose I could have them, but my head addict would go, oh, sweet and sugar, and that's not good for me. So I think I began to make my own food plan after listening to him, because he was talking about, he and his wife Allison and all of their menus, that he allows dairy. And paleo doesn't have dairy, right? So, and then keto says don't have, you should, suggests you shouldn't have it. So anyway, there's just all these food plans. It's totally confusing for everybody. So what do we become? We become our own lab rats. And so you learn what works for you. My having a little yogurt every day doesn't seem to be affecting me. Would I want to go without yogurt for a week and see if there was a noticeable change? Sure, but it never quite happens. And so I did the weekend without yogurt because I was home and I could make, like an omelet instead. And but for me to make what I make at home with the fancy, it's not a fancy omelet, it just, I can't go into somebody else's kitchen and just, make this omelet at work. It's not appropriate. So the yogurt, sometimes the container of yogurt and sometimes yogurt with peanut butter, is what I have to do instead because, it's their kitchen, not mine. And so I haven't gone like a week without yogurt. I've gone the 3 days now. Do I feel any different? No. Does the scale say anything different? No. So does my tummy feel any different? No. Am I jonesing for anything? No. It's, it just seems to be a neutral zone for me. And so, and it works for me. It's my, first food inside of me after my Bulletproof coffee, hours after my Bulletproof coffee, like 6 or 7 hours. So anyway, we have to find what works for us because most of us are here because we do want to lose weight. Most of us are here because, or some of us are here because we want to maintain what we have lost. And so it turns into an area that's very interesting. I watched 2 videos. Thank you, Ava, for putting them on my Facebook. And it's Dr. Gray and Dr. McAuliffe. And one is a sports doctor, and the other one is a retired medical doctor and who fell into this diabetes diet, this book that came out about 10 years ago. And I can't remember what was the prompt for it, but he's retired now, and he began to follow it. And so he came up with a chart of how to eat. Now, he still allows wheat, so he counts them in, and he is not a definitive counter of carbs, a weigher and a measurer. He ballparks. That's right. He used that way. Sports, right? They ballpark things, and it works for these men. And so he came up with this. You can see it on my Facebook page from Ava, and it is carbs. How many carbs to have that are not healthy? How many carbs to have to lose weight? How many carbs? And this is a range to have to maintain. And how many where you're in the you will put on weight zone, and then over 300 grams of carbohydrates is the standard American diet, where you are sure to gain a lot of weight. And so the whole thing's fascinating. And these 2 gentlemen, there's 2 videos, so it's about an hour's worth of time. And there was some time in between for these 2 men to do the second video. And so the second one, Dr. Gray, the sports doctor, he had a lot more insight after the first one. And it was just very, very interesting. And they did bring up the lobbyists and big agriculture and the Senate passing things to keep the grain subsidies going, and why this whole thing up there way at the top, they have to keep this whole thing going because they're supporting the farmers that are growing the grains that they're subsidizing. Well, what do we do with the grains? Well, we have to give them to the food manufacturers, stomach space manufacturers to make into this garbage. We have to keep that going. And then Big Pharma is clapping their hands because they get to keep doing pills and research for all the American diseases that we're training for. Now it's worldwide. As you look at places like Japan, where there's now, people that are gaining weight in Japan eating our standard American diet as we put all the franchises over there. It's hideous. It's horrible. So they touched on that a little bit. And so these are just two sage gentlemen instead of the pounding at home sort of people that we, tend to hear. And they came to a lot of the same conclusions with the diabetes diet. This old book with gourmet recipes in it because somebody's wife was a gourmet cook and they, went into the kitchen and turned it into how can I make these diabetes friendly recipes, which are really for us kind of watching the carbs. And, no matter what food plan you're on, it's the carbs, it's the sugar. We know this. This is not the news flash. And so it's what will work for you. And what works for me is no sugar, no grains, aware of carbs, more fat than a regular food plan would probably talk about, fatty cuts of meat, not the lean cuts of meat, and full-fat dairy. And it works, right? So that's what I'm going with, but I want to help you if you're not going with it, because that's what we do here. We honor all food programs and plans, and we get to each item of food and decide whether it's a keeper or not, right? It's a journey, and we're all on this journey and process, and that's what I love about being here. Always, always, I welcome your comments below. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you the next time. My name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food. Bye-bye for now.